G'day, today in episode 425 of Trent365, I want to talk about the practicality of exclusivity. G'day. You know, oftentimes when I'm speaking with hotels about the management contract of their spa, the conversation turns to exclusivity. They want the exclusive rights to our brand in their region, in their city, wherever they are. And look, as an ex-hotel guy, I kind of understand the logic, but it's not always sound logic when it comes to spa, and I think there's a few reasons for that. First of all, I don't think there's too many guests who actually base their decision to stay in one hotel over the other based purely on the brand of spa that they have. Secondly, once they get to the hotel, I think there's very few guests that are actually going to make the effort to walk even a couple hundred meters down the road to use their competitor's spa. So if the spa is not a major motivation in those scenarios, it doesn't really matter whether your brand and their brand is the same in that sense. The only time I think you can maybe make a case for exclusivity is if you have a city property where the majority of the guests in the spa are coming from the local market as opposed to being in-house hotel guests. In that case, you could argue that, you know, if you have too many spas close enough to each other, then you're going to cannibalize the business. That I would kind of buy in some cases. Having said that, there was a case, pardon me, back in Guam years ago where we had, I think, 5 or 6 spas in the one strip, probably like a 1.5, 2 kilometer beach strip. We're in hotels that were essentially side by side. In that scenario, we had a group reservations system organized, we had complimentary guest shuttle organized, we blanketed the place with marketing campaigns. We were essentially the only game in town. So in that scenario, I would argue that it would have been a disadvantage to not have a Mandara spa in your hotel. So it doesn't always follow. The only other thing I guess I'd say about exclusivity is if you're asking someone to give you exclusivity to a brand, to a product, then that essentially means that they're denying themselves potential future revenue opportunities. So what are you giving them in return? The sort of thing I like to put on the table is I'll give you exclusivity on this brand in your hotel if you give me the other 3 hotels you have in the city, for example. Doesn't always work, but it's a decent conversation. I think if you do end up in a situation though where you have to give exclusivity to get the actual business, to get this contract, then the sort of things you could look at is having a restricted exclusivity, either restricted by zone or time. So you could make it maybe a 1 or 2 kilometer radius from that hotel, from that property, or you could also, either and or for that matter, base it on a time frame. So you could say for the first 1 year after the spa opens, then you won't open any other branded spas with that brand in that city, maybe 1 or 2 years. And that's probably the best option all round because it actually also says to the hotel that you're so committed to building and bedding in their particular property that you're not going to be focused on building 2 or 3 others. So look, that's my thoughts on exclusivity. There really is no one size fits all when it comes to exclusivity, but that's my 2 cents. Would love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below and I'll be back tomorrow. See ya. 'Cause I believed you when you said we were exclusive.